This
We don't want that
conference
one.
will now be recorded.
How do you pick the screen you want? There we go. I don't know why it didn't go to the same one every time. Yeah, that one. This is the one I ordered. But if you look on the thing, it says 0 to negative 101 kPa. So that leads me to believe that's a vacuum sensor. But I'm going to try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll send them back. But the ones that I know for sure that work, the one I have on mine is an SMC brand, and it was like $100 or $130, where these are only like 25. I looked at this one, and it's a different model, but it still looks like the same thing. And the model numbers, if you look at the SMC, it says that NZ SE30A is a vacuum gauge. So I'll see what happens.
Yeah. I had to guess at my pressure on that assist, that air assist.
Yeah.
I just know I have my pressure set at 40 at my the water separator and all that, the
Mm-hmm.
pressure going into it, and I pretty much have the somewhere in the middle, I would say, as far as what what I'm feeling coming out of my finger, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and maybe a little bit less than the middle. So,
And I'm not so worried about a gauge on the low end, because usually you kind of adjust that to the look anyway, just mitigate
yeah,
flame,
but
that kind of stuff.
I noticed that on that particular using that setup. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you can. Well, you probably can't see it because it's yeah, there you can see it.
A little
I mean,
bit.
you can see when the pressure was too high, it was blowing it across.
Yeah.
And then of course, some of these others are, you know, way better. I mean, of course, the last one over here was the best one,
Mm-hmm.
and that's at the pressure it is at now. But I mean, I really didn't dial it that much, and it did make quite a difference for me on this because that acacia wood,
Mm-hmm.
it definitely leaves a dark burn mark.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured that was a good one to try it on.
Yeah, I'm gonna play with it this weekend, and if those gauges work, I'll have 3. I'll have one for each side, and then I'll have an incoming pressure gauge. I might as well hook them
Nice.
all up.
Yeah, and then write the article for it, put the parts kits together, and
Yeah, I've already seen somebody mention that on the YouTube channel, and I don't know about these parts kits. I don't have time to build parts kits. So
yeah,
we'll give all the links though.
yeah.
But so how's everybody doing? Mark, it's good to see you on here. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. I've been pretty busy trying to get the garden in and stuff like that. So finally the weather turned around. It got warm here today.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's a good thing. So, well, like I said, this thing's mostly for anybody that has any questions or comments or observations. So feel free to just jump in. It's kind of a real loose roundtable discussion. So feel free.
I'm kind of waiting for Robert to show up. I want to talk to him about his some of his posts that he's been putting on about the Rotary.
Oh, okay. I don't know if he's been on the past time or two.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I need to get that last video up. I don't know if I published it last week's to YouTube yet. I've got it downloaded. I just need to get it up there.
Well, maybe then what I'll do is I'll just bring it up, and then I'm going to have to leave early today anyway too. So, but one of the things that he seems to be stressing is if people are having issues with the
There's
Rotary.
Robert now.
Yep, there's Robert.
Oh, there he is.
Perfect timing.
Hey, Robert, you there?
Yeah, just getting connected, guys.
Hey,
Well,
Robert.
that wasn't fast enough, man.
I'm sorry. I'm just a shade late. Story of my life.
Yeah.
What's up?
I was actually going to say y'all quit talking about him, but we're actually talking about you. So.
Don't do that.
Yeah, hey, Robert, I was commenting on some of the posts that you've been putting up there on Rotary. People have been asking you for help occasionally, and one of the things that you seem to be stressing is that you want the Rotary not connected when you invoke Lightburn. And
Right.
I have not found that to make one bit of difference at all. In fact, I can leave that rotary plugged in, shut it off for the night, come back the next day, and everything's good. I just was wondering why you're making a point of that.
Well, I'm not specifically sure I know what you're talking about, Mark, there, meaning that usually I always, what I have found with working with a lot of people is that if you plug or leave your rotary plugged in and start up your machine and connect to Lightburn, that on occasion it won't, the rotary won't connect to Lightburn, meaning that when you go to the rotary setup, it doesn't read the controller.
Brian, any comment?
I haven't had any reports of that, but he may see a whole lot more of it in a practical sense than I do, because people may just not call in and report it.
Yeah, I brought it up because I have not found that to be an issue at all.
I haven't heard it either, but I've seen stranger things. As far as the machine goes, once you plug the rotary in, it alerts the DSP and kicks on the power for it, through the TL timer.
Yep.
Other than that, I'm not sure about the communications, as far as how that would affect it. I don't think it would directly, but again, I'm not sure on the Lightburn side what that may or may not entail.
Yeah, and it's primarily when you leave the rotary plugged in and you shut your machine off, and then you turn it back on and the rotary's already plugged in, and you go to the setup, the rotary setup, that it's like I said, it won't see the rotary for whatever reason. As soon as you unplug it and plug it back in, then it works fine.
Okay, well, that's good to know, but yeah, if that ever happens.
I'll play with it and see if I can replicate anything like that, and see if there is, something I can hammer down on it.
Yeah, and I've only had probably a handful of those. And like I said, it seems like the minute you unplug it and plug it back in, it solves the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be a case by case, or maybe something to do with I don't know, something else, because I'm not having a single problem either.
Well, I will tell you, and this is probably
mine, yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you something, and this may have something to do with it. Come to think about it, I think most all of the ones that I've experienced that with have been with Macs.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was getting ready to get at, was maybe the Windows version or something like that.
Now that you mention it, I think all but one were Macs, and they were the new Macs, like the ones with the M1 chip.
Probably more security.
Who knows?
USB or Ethernet make a difference?
No, I think, all of these seem to, from what I remember, were all connected USB.
Yeah, I was gonna say the M1 doesn't even have an Ethernet port unless they're going USB-C to an adapter. So yeah, that's something. I've got a M1 MacBook Pro that I used to do some design in, but I don't plug it into the laser. It's because I ran into too many different quirks with it coming up, and I've got the laser with a little dedicated miniature PC on it, and run it, and if I'm feeling lucky, I'll update to the newest version of Lightburn when it comes out, but I normally wait a few weeks and find out if there's any issues, just because can't be wasting time trying to troubleshoot the new bug that come out in it that's stopping the work. So.
Yeah, hopefully they got all that ironed out. That was that COM change at 0.21 that everything started going wacky, and since 0.24, it looks like it's calmed down even on the Macs, even with Big Sur, even with those M1s, I think. I'm running 0.25 on Windows 10, and it's been flawless so far. So. All right, well, cool. I see maybe some new people on here. Jacob, Andrew, if any of you guys have a question or comment, feel free to jump in, man.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, I've actually been watching these, watched dozens of these videos now. I usually
I'm sorry.
No, no, I've learned a lot. I just haven't made the purchase yet, but I'll be doing that very shortly here, to get the order rolling.
Sure.
Figured out I'll probably go with the 35 100, is probably what I'm going to go with, but yeah, just haven't got there so far yet. Usually I'm busy on Thursday afternoon, so you probably won't see me a lot, but I'll be here in spirit watching the videos after you post them. So,
Awesome.
but I had one question I wanted to drop in today and see if anyone in this group had this. So I live in a small apartment, right? So I don't have any space for any of this. So a few miles away, I did find a kind of like a buddy's workshop that I'm going to be able to partner up with. So that's where I'm going to have my laser. Now, here's the question. So I have a really nice desktop computer at home, and that's where I'm going to probably have Lightburn, and I'll be doing all my graphics and design and everything here. So I have a laptop that I can take over to the wood shop where I'm going to have the laser. So does anyone else have a setup like that where you have the laser in a different location than where you're physically, doing most of your work? And, can you use your same Lightburn license on two different machines? Has anyone worked with a setup like that?
Yeah, there's a
Yep.
couple that we've worked with in industry that they give the operator a USB stick and they go out and load the programs on there, and then they, untether it, and that way the operator can't get in there and tweak things. They can just run the jobs. You can either take a laptop with you and send them from Lightburn, which I think would be my preferred choice, because you still have a capability to edit, in case you get
Yep.
over there and, oh man, I misspelled something. What are you going to do? Go all the way back and fix it and put it on your thumb drive, drive back.
Yeah, same with the if you have the camera for positioning and previewing it, your layout and tweaking things. Yeah, I was gonna say I do the same. I actually do a lot of design on the Mac in the house, and then actually email it to the laser to and it's got a dedicated PC, a little micro computer that's behind it, and I can't tell you how many times that we run into issues where, I didn't do this, or something where you design with a font and then you send it out there and you don't have that font installed on the computer, so it completely screws your design up. So it's like, go back, convert it to a path and send it rather than the font. Yeah, so I think the being able to edit it at the laser could be very invaluable, or it'll teach you very good design practice early on that you're going to find a lot of wasted trips back and forth.
Yeah, that's totally what I want to avoid. So in that case, can I actually use the same license of Lightburn on my laptop that's in the wood shop and my desktop home computer?
Yeah, you get 2 seats for it. If you email them and ask nicely, they'll give you 3. And you could use a cloud solution or OneDrive or iCloud or Dropbox or a network share or whatever, to
email
to work out,
address or
email address,
anything.
whatever, to transfer those files. I prefer using a Dropbox or a solution like that. That way, if I edit it, it's constantly synced and always ready to go.
That's exactly what I was hoping to not have to buy 2 copies of Lightburn, but I was like, I couldn't think of any better way than hauling my computer across town every time. And I was like, I
Sure.
can't be doing that. So
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. So one thing, Andrew, when you do it though, is something that didn't realize was the one that's connected to the laser. I've read the settings there. I get the accurate. I've got the device settings in that copy of Lightburn. The one that's on the Mac, it's not. So like my preview times, right? If you're designing, because it doesn't have the actual laser files, right? And I didn't go download the file and load it back in there, so none of my previews for the jobs are right. So you want to keep that in mind when you're if you're going to go look at cut times and estimate jobs if you're going to sell them. You don't want to have different settings and and it take twice as long or better than that. You have it faster.
The optimum solution for that would be to set the machine up once on one instance of Lightburn, put in your scanning offset adjustments, all of that, export that device profile to your new system, and then all of those settings are mirrored. So you basically just mirrored that instance.
That's
device.
Yeah, and that's kind of the exact opposite. What I did was setting up the mock system prior to the laser getting here, and designing some things and working through it that way, and then plugging a laser in and setting it up and going.
Mm-hmm. So But yeah, all of that's definitely possible.
Awesome. Thank you. That alleviates a lot of stress trying to figure out the mechanics of how this operation is going to work once I get this order placed and get the machine here.
Yep. You mentioned it's going to be in a buddy's wood shop.
Yeah, it's a converted office building actually. So I'll be borrowing some office space, and I'll be having its own, I got to get the ventilation hooked up and everything, but with the lead times on the orders, I should have just enough time to get all the fans hooked up and everything, and before the delivery date should be good.
Yep. Yeah, I just look at what and how you connect things, right? So obviously a dedicated receptacle on it. Yeah, if you can stay away from connecting to any other equipment, right? Table saw starting up or any larger equipment getting network disturbances, you'll see some issues there. And then the other thing is dust, right? Is if you're actually in the same shared space where you get some of that very fine wood dust from routers or stuff like that, you may want to consider when you're not there or not actively using it, getting a cover to put over it just to keep it a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, we're actually going to throw up a quick couple of 2x4s and make a little makeshift wall, a little dust barrier between my operations and his, and then mine will have, my computer in it, and then the laser also, and then that'll kind of be separate from the other half of the shop. So actually, I got another question. I don't want to hijack the whole meeting today, but what about temperatures? I know that when the tube is exposed to, extreme low or high temperatures, it's going to be it degrades the gases in the laser tube. So I'm here in Wisconsin, and we, on the weekends, we don't plan on heating the shop a whole lot at all. We'll keep it above freezing, but what are the minimums that we want to keep the laser, or maximum, I guess, the range to keep those gases at the optimum, rate from degrading too fast?
I'm not sure that actually, I'm sure that's a little bit of a factor. On the degradation is usually from the tantalum electrodes vaporizing when it's arcing and ionizing and depositing itself on the inside of the tube and throwing things off. But as far as minimum temp, you definitely don't want it to freeze for obvious reasons. It'll cause a lot of physical damage to the tube and the pump and all of the plastic parts in the coolant system and that kind of thing. But a laser is comfortable around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're comfortable, the laser is comfortable.
Yep.
That's not to say
Yeah.
I don't run mine in August when it's 108 at 8 o'clock and there's sweat dripping off. As long as you get your chiller set up the right way and constant set point, you can have a little bit more control over that temperature range. Temperature range really affects the output of the laser tube, so you can get erratic or changing resultant output, because it actually changes densities and power levels and beam signature and all kind of crazy stuff in there as it changes. It can. So the more steady you can keep your temperature, the better. So most people choose constant set point in that instance if it's not in a conditioned building.
Gotcha.
Where in Wisconsin are you, Andrew?
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Where in Wisconsin are you?
Sheboygan, Wisconsin. So right on Lake Michigan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I live in Hubertus. This is a little north of Menomonee Falls. So, yeah.
Right on. Yeah,
your life will be stress-free if you get a Thunder laser.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. As I'm sure everyone here has done, we talk about our, the research that we've done and stuff. I'm pretty excited to get my order placed. I'm just worried about the shop getting too cold. If it gets down to 50 degrees, we don't want it to set any lower than 50 for the pipes freezing and just the building itself. But he's like, yeah, I usually don't keep the shop any warmer than 50 degrees when I'm not there, just because it's expensive. It's negative 30 outside.
Mm-hmm.
Expensive to heat up a big empty wood shop. So he said, yeah, you should keep it about 50 in the wintertime. I was like, well, I might need to adjust that a little bit depending on if that's going to affect the gases in the laser.
Nah, you should be fine. Once you start running it, you'll be up to temp in no time. So, and then it'll regulate. But yeah, that's not too bad.
Okay.
50s are fine. Yeah, but just the freezing's the big, huge thing, you know. And when you get up in the higher temperature, especially depending on the dew point, you may have to worry about condensate dripping down into the machine if it's really hot and humid. I don't think most people don't have to worry about that. I don't get many. I've had one call about that the whole time, you know, that I can remember. So that's not very common. So.
Thanks.
He's not going to want huge temperature swings in his shop anyways, because the table saws and the beds of all his stuff that's cast will rust quicker. Crazy if he goes from like 30 degrees to 70 degrees working temperatures, he's going to have rust issues all over the place anyways.
Plus,
So-
if you're staging your wood, I would imagine that temperature change also can affect humidity.
Yes.
That may affect your wood as well.
Oh yeah.
It's worse on your tools than anything, because your tables, if you don't keep them waxed up and stuff, just the slight temperature swings in the summertime. If I have a customer coming in and they open up the shop door, when I open the shop door up and it's 70 in my shop and 90 outside, and it sits open for any length of time, and close the windows, you'll start actually seeing rust on the tables.
You'll see surface rust quick.
Yep.
Mhm. All right. Well, let's see, Jacob. See, you've been watching a little bit. You just hanging out, or do you have any questions or anything?
I've watched a couple. I haven't logged in on live yet, Brian. This is my first time. The wife and I actually got a chance to go see Grant and Cheyenne, and picked up our HR head this what was it, past Friday, I guess. Yeah. So if you hear a bunch of rain when I'm talking, it's just Southeast Texas. It's rained for about a month straight. So
Gotcha.
now we're waiting to pick my daughter up from school. No, my laser should be in the States on the 7th of June. The only question I had is, you know, how soon can I get over there and pick it up from the warehouse? You know, if they'll let me, I would assume that it's going to take them at least, you know, a week to get the Connex box off of the vessel, get the box unloaded, and I don't know if they do some type of quality check when it gets here to the States. I would assume not, but
No. The last person that touched it was somebody in China QC. And actually, the machines all go to LA. We don't ever touch them either, so they don't see Texas. So.
my twin brother's over in San Diego right now.
I see.
In the Navy, and it would serve a dual purpose trip to be able to go over and see him, because LA is only about 4 hours from San Diego, so I'd be able to go see him for a bit, wait till the laser was ready, and then go pick it up from the warehouse.
I got you.
But I'm going to assume that it's going to take at least a week to get all those Connex boxes off of that vessel and everything moved out of the box where they're going to put it on a truck and start shipping it out, because I think my arrival date is the end of June. So
it's 2 to 3 weeks at port, and get all that set up and get it all staged over at our third-party logistics place, and then they start dispersing them. So yeah, probably 2 to 3 weeks before they start firing them off after they hit the shore. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is it's going to take at least a week to get everything out and staged and moved. At that point, you know, going over there early would be. I'll have to wait till at least the 14th to go try to pick it up. And I've been to that port actually. I do a pipeline inspection, and I've inspected the pipeline that runs under that port right there.
Oh, okay.
So I've been to that port in Compton, and it's been 2016 when I was there, but I've been there.
Gotcha.
It's very, very busy. Very busy.
I can imagine.
I was looking around online today, and because I'm a veteran, so I was looking for some good vector art for military stuff, and man, it's more difficult than I anticipated to find something that will actually work well in Lightburn to be able to trace image and get a good copy of it. And I have a lot of buddies that are still in the service and that got out of other branches of the service as well. And like, hey man, if you got a good black and white copy, send it to me. So,
yeah. I've seen a couple of resources where they're official, like Department of the, Army and all that stuff. A lot of their logos, they're available on Vector. I don't know where those links are. It's been years since I've seen them, but they had a repository of actual, insignias and things like that that were available as vectors. I don't know where in the world to start looking for that again. It's been forever, but I thought I saw like an official looking repository, not somebody that had just collected them and selling them on Etsy. It looked like I'm not sure about that though. I wonder if there's any licensing on that stuff.
The DoD website came up, but all of the graphic images there are only 200 by 200, so the resolution is not good enough.
Gotcha.
When you go to trace image, it's just a bunch of hazy stuff, and when you're adjusting threshold and your cutoff, it doesn't work well enough to get a good image. So
right.
The one place that I thought would have something that I could use definitely doesn't. Now, I suppose the only source that I could get a hold of would be at least for the Navy would be my brother, since he's still in the Navy. But
now here's a link that I found of archived material from the DoD, and it has EPS files, which ought to be they should, and you may have to have a converter if you don't have what is EPS? I've got Adobe Suite, but I can't think right now because I never use it. It's not in design.
right.
What is it, Jeremy?
I'm trying to remember.
EPS
it stands for encapsulated PostScript. Is what the file.
I'll just open it and see what it opens
it's
with.
A vector that
it opened in AI. So
yeah,
AI.
Illustrator. You can do it in Photoshop.
I'll put that link in the chat to this thing. Well, let me share my screen. I'll show you what's on here. And these are full color. These are for print, so they're still going to need some attention probably. But there's Department of the Army, and some of these may be generic. There's not much on there, but it may help a little bit. There's the Marine Corps.
Oh man,
so there's a few of those in there.
That can't be official. It doesn't even have the Space Force on there.
I don't know. They got enough fine print here.
Yeah, exactly. Oddly enough, I think the Space Force is getting undone in the president's budget that was released this week. A lot of the space type funding is going to the Air Force.
Gotcha.
So they've got funding in there for trial programs in 2022 fiscal year to do deliveries via rocket anywhere on the planet within an hour.
Huh.
Yeah. So and payloads of cargo airlines. So
yeah,
be delivering Thunders within an hour.
That's got Elon Musk written all over it, or what's his name, Amazon. Isn't he getting into the space deal too? So I'll link that thing. So
earlier, and the EPS file, I just couldn't open it. And the JPEGs are just not good quality enough. I'll have to get AI or get another program.
Well, there's an online converter. You could probably convert that EPS file to a SVG or a DXF or something that you can work with in the software that you have. Inkscape's a good free vector editor if you want to tinker around in that stuff, or you could download Lightburn and just use it. Start running the trial.
Yeah, and the EPS, I think there's something built into the EPS files where it'll generate like a high resolution bitmap as part of the file coding, similar to how PDFs do the same. If you actually convert to PDF rather than like a scan to PDF, it'll actually give you the scalable details because it's vectors that are published to PDF.
Mm-hmm.
It would definitely be good to be able to get it, just because I would prefer to stick with what's official. Now I was able to tinker around and find some good graphics that I had to clean up a bit, and I got a couple of decent images so far. But I did start my Lightburn trial about 10 days ago, and I don't know. I think I'm probably about 40 files deep already. So. Just getting ready.
Gotcha. Let me make sure that's turned off. Okay. Well, does anybody else have anything else? I'm don't have anything new from last week. It was a short week, and I've been busy making or putting those air kits out and playing with these other things. So I'm still playing catch up.
Yeah, so I saw your videos on that. I saw a few other people in some of the comments. I think there's probably a bit of confusion on some of what I was seeing on some of the Facebook groups and comments where when you looked at some of the photos that other people posted, they only had a single airline and they had like a T coming off of their nozzle to the adapter rather than running a separate low, a low pressure line through. So, yeah, because I saw a lot of people talking about, oh, you've got so much pressure loss due to the flow coming out of both of them, and so I think that was it's a little bit that was missed or lost in the translation for the people that didn't see the video.
Yeah, and I think I put in here that you didn't actually have to run the second one because there's a lot of people that may not want to go through that and just switch back and forth or something, but I still want to make sure that squeezing that end and is going to protect the lens enough, keep the smoke diverted away from the stock nozzle good enough. That's one of the first things I want to check. And then I'll play with how good it does, but I had something similar to this on my K40s and it worked really well. But I like having the conical nozzle when you're cutting so that you can really get most of that air down in that kerf, and be the most effective with it. So this is kind of neat. I'm hoping it'll do what I want it to.
And that's got to help the high resolution lens by keeping it cleaner when you're cutting, because that thing builds up so much junk so quick.
Yeah, even on the let's see, the dot test, they in the original Chinese test when they did this and looked at it under the microscope, they even did a section on the original report about which one stays cleaner. So they even inspected that, and I think the Thunder Laser HR head actually performed a little better in the cleanliness category, but that was it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they can get nasty quick, that's for sure.
Yeah. Exactly, and cleaning them can be a bit dangerous if you ain't careful there. I cleaned mine off and didn't thoroughly dry it, and so I blew some air through it, wiped it, and there was a little bit of water still on it. And next time I cut with it, I found that when the laser hit it and it turns to steam, that does a wonder on your lens.
Yeah, I'm sure that can. And plus that thing, I think, got dirty enough where you'd have to actually stop in the middle of the job and figure out how to clean it and get back to where you were. So, yeah, that's crazy.
Yep, and trying to get it back to the exact same focus, and because you can't clean it with it in place because there's no room under it.
Yeah, unless you got some cheesecloth or something and kind of did the stuck it under there and just went back and forth with it a few times. Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then that might get me into my second step. I still have to do the second step of that HR head. I've got it out. So that's my next thing. I'm going to do a focus test, a ramp test on it, and see what kind of dots I can lay down with that HR head, see how they compare with those reports and that Rust formula. So see what kind of dot sizes I can get. But I don't know if that'll help me with the photos. I don't know if anything will help me with photos.
Photos are a bit tricky. I think with the photos though is one of the biggest things that I found is having a good quality photo to start with. You can only tweak it so much, and dress up so much.
Yeah. And I see a day when Lightburn might have some presets in it just because presets are popular. That'd be kind of neat for me, because I'm a magic button kind of guy when it comes to that. Let me push a button and make it ready to go.
Yep, and I've played with the Lightburn settings and stuff, and I still like Imgur and some of I've got something that works pretty well there. and and haven't had to change it. I can't get it to work exactly the same because once it comes out of Imagor, you just run the pass through, so I don't touch any of the Lightburn settings and run it on pass through. And it's interesting because no matter what I do from Imagor and run pass through versus Lightburn, it's always slightly different on what it's actually passing through. So, but I can get some fairly consistent results.
Yeah, I've used Photograph a little bit, and it's neat too. But eventually I'll get to the point where I know what all that stuff does. Well, that's about all I got, and it's only what? Oh, it's only 3:36. Wow, we still got almost a half hour. You guys need to have some more questions.
When is the fiber laser going to be coming out? When I talked to Grant the other last Friday, he said there was a couple of delays, but he said you were still playing with it to figure out when we're going to start getting them to sell.
Yeah, I'm looking at container number 74 or 75, I think, for the one that I'm getting. And then I think after that, they're loading a container with 20 or so of them. And I think as soon as they kick off and they're floating, I think we'll give the word. And if they don't sink, we'll be in good shape.
I didn't even know that was a feature of them. They're going to float now? Nice.
As long as they're in the boat. Unless they get stuck. But yeah, there's probably another month or so, or maybe two on that at least. Like I said, we don't want to prematurely release it. We want to make sure we've got some on the way in the water, so we can go ahead and deploy them. Because as soon as I hit that email list and let everybody know, it's going to be a flood.
Yeah, well, we'll have plenty to talk about going forward with all the problems with EasyCAD too.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's going to be a whole nother element.
Yeah, Robert, you planning on getting a fiber and teaching us how to use EasyCAD too?
I need to grow the shop before I can make any more room for any more things. I had to sell my CNC so I could get this new 35100 in. So, but the contractors around here are backed up. They told me 7 to 10 months before they'd even talk to me. So, not for a while.
Yeah, right now is not a good time to be growing your shop with the price of lumber either.
No, it's crazy. Yeah. It's nuts.
Saw a guy in one of the local workshop hacks communities or something. He's like, yeah, I'm building this 40 by 90 shop. Should I go with 2x4 or 2x6 walls? I was like, when you looked at the price of lumber, you should probably go with a steel building.
Steel building. Yeah.
You might get out of platinum cheaper right now.
Yeah, I know around here, that's all you're seeing going up is steel buildings. You're not seeing any wood structures whatsoever.
Yep, it's ridiculous.
Hey, Brian, I had a question for you. With my laser should be showing up here in the next 3 weeks or so. Do I have to worry about the power cord issue that you guys were talking about?
You're on mute, Brian.
Yeah, I think I can look you up and see which container you're on.
Okay.
And that'll tell me. Let's see. They're supposed to be they're sending all that stuff to us, and then we're going to distribute them instead of trying to distribute the replacement cords for the affected ones. So
Gotcha.
People have them coming, but we just have this little adapter in place temporarily in case they get their machine before the cord gets there.
Gotcha.
So, let's see. You are on container. This thing's slow. F. Let's see. Not that one. Oh, there you go. You're on container 62. And according to corrective action.
I think it's everything under container 71 or 72.
Yeah, it's 57 through 72, and you're on 62, so you are affected.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm on container 61.
Yeah. And like I said, I'll put that link to that article. There's an adapter in there. If you don't get the cord in time, you can Amazon Prime it, and it'll work for a couple weeks until we get the cord in.
So those things hit port yet since you're looking at the screen, Brian?
What's that?
Are they in port now? Can you see that from your screen?
No, all I've got is a list of names and what container they're on. It doesn't have any, we don't, honestly, we don't get the end user usually knows when they're getting their machine before we do. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. I don't know what's up with that, but it's just
No.
insane.
I was just hoping I would get a tracking on it before it shows up because I got customer stuff I need to get out of my shop because it's in the way.
Mhm. The way it used to work is they, give you a call a week before and schedule a delivery window and everything is just fine. But they have been known to just show up that day and, call that morning and go, hey, we're coming.
Yeah, when they delivered my 24, they called and said, we're about a mile away.
Yeah. And
It's like,
that's just the carriers not all being on the same page and having the same
Right.
protocols. But
Yep.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
exciting.
they don't do
Yeah,
that where I'm at.
for
A mile away from me, you don't have any cell phone service. So
It's about the same here too.
now they called a couple days in advance, and the guy's like, well, we're not sure if we're going to be able to get this thing off the truck here. I was like, so your driver's not going to be able to use the lift gate and drop it off. Like, it can be done. I'll send them a YouTube video and show you, right? And he's like, well, I don't know if you could get a forklift. So I had Lowell lined up, and I talked to the driver on the way out. I said, oh, no, that's fine. He said, I dealt with shakier stuff than that. So,
You know what I've got lined up is a flatbed towing service. It's got a small flatbed, and they'll just back up to the semi and suck that thing on the flatbed, and then they can drive it because my shop's about 300 feet behind the house, and that way they can just go ahead and dump it off, and I don't have to, because getting a forklift out here is not going to be a lot of fun. So,
Mhm.
but I'm going to need a little bit of time to orchestrate that.
see, it's one of the joys of living in the country. The local hardware store, there's one sitting there. I call the owner, and he said, "Yep, go grab it. We're not using
Go
it
get
today.
it.
The
Yeah,
keys are in
that'd
it."
be nice.
Yep.
Yep.
I already
Appreciate
spent
it.
Memorial.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. I'll go ahead and order one of those just to have it.
Okay. All right. We can reimburse you for it if we need to.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
It's yeah, $9. So it's the
You got-
upgraded version. It's the
Oh, my.
upgraded. Yeah, it doesn't look like those ones with the little ribs on the side that are kind of square. This one's streamlined. The molding looks like it's stronger.
Oh,
so I chose
it's
that one.
more aerodynamic.
There you go.
It makes the electricity pass through smoother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Less resistance. That's always a good thing.
yeah. And all started because we were going to key all the 100 and 130 machines, or the Nova 35s and up, with 20 amp outlets or plugs from now on, so that people won't plug them into 15 amp circuits. That's what got all this rekeying going on anyway. So, because before they mostly came with the 15 amp, the 5R or the 515, but yeah, evolution. Yeah, there's the one that doesn't look as good because it looks like those cheap ones you get at Kmart. It can't be as good because it doesn't look like it's as sturdy. What's
Email for me?
I'm catching a lot of background noise a little bit. Can you say that again?
I don't think I put my email on there. If you have a way to get in contact with me, like you send me that link.
The link for the
Plugs.
No, I think he meant the link for the DoD stuff. I think that's what he's saying. He's breaking up.
oh,
the mirror.
okay.
Power adapter.
Yeah, I can send you that. Can you see the chats when you're logged into this thing?
It just shows everybody's face.
Gotcha. Yeah, your email. Yeah, I'll have to get your email address if you didn't log in with it.
I mean, it's no secret. I can give it to you if
If you just want to go to support.thunderlaserusa.com and just search for the word corrective, it'll pop right up. Or you could shoot us an email. That may be easier. But yeah, you're breaking up real bad. Even if you gave it to me, I don't think I could hear it.
Roger that.
I'll put it in the links anyway. I'm not sure how the mobile, I haven't used this GoToMeeting in mobile before, so I'm not sure how that'll work, but I'll stick it in the chat anyway. Or I already did, didn't I? Yeah, it's in there. Let me see if I can send it directly to him. Maybe it'll pop up. I don't know how that works on the other end either. That may or may not come to you and give you some kind of notification. I'm not sure. We'll get it to him. And let me turn that screen back off so I can see everybody. That's about all I got this week, guys. Same old, same old. Unless anybody else has anything else. Danny, I see you're on here. How you been doing?
Been doing well. Did you put last week's webinar on YouTube yet or Facebook?
Not yet. I was just talking about that before I hit record, before somebody reminded me again. Thank you, Cheyenne. So I'll put that up this afternoon, and then I'll put this one out as soon as it gets done rendering. So I'll have them up this evening, hopefully. First thing in the morning at the latest. I got a little behind on it because of the short weekend, or the short week. So
I heard Jeremy talking about people putting the airline in and splitting it, and using the same airline for both of them. Go over that with me if you would, right quick.
So you talking about for the that extra engraving nozzle?
Yes.
Okay. So let me go back to that thing. The way I did mine in this article is I ran a completely new airline all the way down the gantry and plumbed it into the dual stage air assist, so that what happens is now when I hit low stage, it only comes out of that nozzle. And when I hit high stage, it only comes out of here. So basically what I did, instead of having one line, that original line that went to the nozzle, I just ran an additional one. So now I have it, low and high all the way to the head so that I can use both nozzles. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But you don't have to do that. You can put a T in, and then you can adjust, with the little valve on board or whatever. However you want to work that out. I just thought it'd be neat to actually isolate them one from the other, which that's a little more work, but not a whole lot. A couple extra feet of airline and a couple of fittings. But I'm going to finish this article up after I get it tested, and I'll make a note about connecting it both ways. And that way it'll be more complete in here. So.
All right.
Yeah, I think the way you did it, Brian, worked better when we chatted last week about, kind of more like a air brush, right? When as you're starting to, if you're doing like a large image or something, it's going to steadily blow the debris, out of the way, so you don't, I guess, dirty up your substrate and get more. So, but yeah, when you put the T in, when you turn the air on, you're going to have it coming out of the standard conical nozzle as well as the additional one. So I imagine that creates a little, bit more turbulence and uncontrolled airflow there. So.
Yeah, unless you just do a straight switch, which you'd have to pause in between if you wanted to switch them back and forth. But that would be another way, provided we can make a reasonable assessment that air curtain will keep the smoke and debris off the stock lens, without having a positive pressure in that nozzle. So, and I think it will. I think it'll do its job as long as it's positioned correctly.
Okay.
So I was wondering, did anyone take me up on the vacuum idea yet, and hooking an extraction to it either?
No, but you know what would be perfect for that is a rainbow.
Yeah,
all of that
there
stuff
you
would
go.
just go right in the water. You could just dump it out.
That's good.
Thing
Yeah, I
is,
tell
the,
you
young,
what,
the younger people wouldn't know what a rainbow was. They'd think
I
it'd be
was gonna
something
say, I miss the
completely
days
different.
of I miss the days of them coming out and doing the the demos for 2 hours and unscrewing hot light bulbs and vacuuming the dog with it. And,
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
remember when I
I
was
tried that for
younger
about a day
thinking
and a
that
half.
was, yeah.
Yeah, if that long. But yeah, it's a neat concept. When I saw it, immediately when I saw it, when they turned it on in a room with nothing connected, and the water was dirty after 10 minutes just from sucking the dust out of the air. I was like, wow, they're really onto something.
Yeah. Yeah, how are they injecting that dust in the water? You go look. You have to fill up the dust container inside, so it steadily puts it in the water for the demos.
Right. Oh crap, I'm out of dust. Let me go to the car and let me see your Hoover.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see. Make sure there's not anybody else on here why is my view being so weird? Oh, because I'm still sharing a screen. There we go. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I see Ron and Jen on here. Like I said, if you guys have anything at all, feel free to speak up.
I actually went over and above, even though I've had semis down my driveway delivering plywood. I actually, just so that they wouldn't have an excuse when they showed up to deliver this thing going, well, you got too much canopy. I actually worked over the Memorial Day weekend, hauled 4 truckloads out of the canopy on my driveway so the driver can't say, well, I'm going to hit a tree limb.
Uh-huh.
My wife goes, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm giving no excuses.
Yep, exactly.
Because our driveway's got a complete canopy. It's completely canopy wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks in the wintertime, but it looks pretty in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a call from right before mine was delivered. I got a call from the local shipping company, and they said, "You have a rather large crate here for delivery." She says, "Are you coming to pick it up?" Like, no, you're going to deliver it, right? I said, "No, we're not putting that on our lift gate." So yeah, I did the. She gave me actually a number of a great company. They just do deliveries for people. They had a flatbed, and they had one of those 3-wheel forklifts that they use for lumber and stuff like that. And that guy was awesome. He pretty much put it right in my front door. I mean,
Yeah.
he swing that thing around, and I had literally had about an inch on each side from my columns, and he put it right in there and just stuck it right in the front door. It was really nice, but well worth it.
That's crazy because they accepted the job and then they say they can't get it on their truck.
Oh yeah,
They accepted it with the weights and dimensions, right? It
Oh,
hadn't changed any.
exactly.
That's weird.
Yeah. The funny thing for mine was the driver. He pulled down here and turned around in the cul-de-sac. That stage was like, "Yeah, you don't mind if I drop a couple of other things off, do you?" Right? So it's stacked all the way up, against the forward end, against the cab there, and there was like 3 other pallets in front of it, and 51 barely fits. I mean, it's sideways and it doesn't have an inch of clearance around it, so he had to unload his truck in the street and then pulled 3 pallets off and then grab it and then run it in. But
My God, why wouldn't he deliver those first? I guess they were way out of his way or something.
Well, one of them he attempted to deliver and they couldn't, so he had to take it back, and then other ones they just loaded his truck wrong.
Mm-hmm. So, well, cool guys. I guess I'm gonna jump off of here, and nobody
So I
has
made it through
anything
another
else.
one.
Yeah, I know it. I keep thinking, wow, people still keep coming to these things because it just seems like the same thing. I try to think of ways to spice it up, but usually it ends up getting interesting anyway.
We always
You know what?
managed to. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we just managed to BS our way generally through the last half hour.
Hey, that's the way I roll all the time, man. Fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah. That's something I got to thinking about on that topic, Brian. It might be worth, when you post in on the Facebook groups or whatever for the webinar for that week, put maybe a poll on there with a couple of topics or user suggested topics. Let people vote on it and at least give us something to attempt to, have an agenda.
Because I had a form you could fill out for backup topics, but that's sterile and generic and stupid. Nobody's using it. So yeah, I think of front facing like a poll or something, get some interaction. I think that might liven it up a little bit. So
At least.
Have you thought much about quite a while back we talked about doing like a little light burn section, or maybe like once a month or once every 3 weeks or something like that. Just do one strictly on helping people get stuff to their laser.
Yeah, and I probably ought to do that. I just feel like I don't know everything that's in Lightburn yet, even though I've been messing around with it for quite a while.
That's because I keep adding to it.
Yeah, right. Stop.
Now, I went into the
I
went
was
into
to
the
say, a
forum
lot
to
more
go.
about it than that most people do. So
Yeah, I went into the forum to go find the suggestion section, so I could go in and tell them, like, we need a way to make your fonts favorite. So I have to quit going down my list of 5,000 fonts to find the one I'm looking for. And
Yes.
I found, in the last update they actually put it in there. I just missed it.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
came out
know
at
this either.
920. Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, 920 had all kinds of good stuff in it that I missed.
yeah.
Oh shoot! I did not know this.
Yeah, I went back and read the notes on it. There's all kinds of good stuff in there. One that was really good was masking images. So if you're going to go in and you have like an image, but you don't want it to cut out, you want to go fit it to an object. You can have that object trace it, and then it'll go in and mask the edge, so it effectively trims it to fit that object.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually real useful, because I tried my best on trying to do that without that feature, and it doesn't exist. So you're trying to do it in Photoshop or somewhere else and import it.
Yeah, I literally
So-
just seen that on the Lightburn video thing. I was literally just watched that before this started.
Yeah, and they snuck that in, 2 months ago, and just missed it because they put
Here's
so
what's-
much in there.
Here's what's cool in one of the cool things in 9.25. If you're in here and you have an object and you grab it, when you go to drag, you'll notice you can actually move this. You can actually pan while you're dragging.
Yep.
So if you need to move an object over, that's kind of neat.
You're not doing the scroll in and out while you're dragging it and resizing it.
Yeah. So that'll be kind of a neat thing to, instead of, like you say, having to move over here and then move a little more and then zoom out and move over a little bit. So that'll be kind of neat.
Yeah,
All
that
kinds
does
of
make it
things.
nicer.
The other thing is what I found in any vector editing, CAD design software, having a good mouse that has features built into it, having that, the clickable scroll wheel or that center button, that has so much built-in feature that most people don't even know about. Or you get people
I
using a
love
laptop
mine.
with a trackpad, and I'm like, you can't do design work there.
Yeah.
You know,
I use a
and if you get in,
a gaming trackball,
Yeah.
and
That's
it
what
goes,
I use.
see, and I've got the Logitech the MX Master series. So it's about a $70 mouse when you catch
Is it
on
that
sale,
one?
I think. It looks.
Or the next one over.
There you go. Yeah, but the mouse, it's got a lot of feature in it, but it's got some programmable and custom macros, and you can do shortcut keys and reassign them and stuff, so you can do a lot of useful stuff with it. And I found the more I use it, the more I like it. It's actually really nice. And then my wife using just one of the cheap the $30 mouse and keyboard wireless sets, and I gotta use that mouse, and I was like, you need to get a better mouse, right?
I hate regular mice, pair mice. Well, I hate them with passion. I've been using that style of mouse or trackball for years, and I can't use a regular one now.
yeah.
I keep reaching for my thumb to scroll. It's like it don't work. Then you run out of table.
I don't have to worry about any of my kids getting on my computer either, because they all use a mouse or a trackpad, and when they get on this trackball, they just fling it all over the place across 5 monitors a time or two, and they get up and walk away.
It's like having
Jim,
a manual
you're gonna be
transmission
one of
in a
those
vehicle.
like Scotty. Computer. Y'all, no,
Yeah.
nobody's a Star Trek fan.
Yeah, no, I got it. I actually, when I was going to college and I was getting a graphics class, one of the guys who was in the graphics class, he recommended going to that, and I immediately went and jumped to it. And because I was always working on a laptop. Well, when you're on a laptop, it's too hard to sit on the couch and work on a laptop.
Yeah. Then you got to get you a lap desk or set you a magazine on the armrest so you can track on it with a mouse, and it's a pain.
You have so much more control with the trackball when you're doing graphics.
Mhm. All right, I'm gonna stop recording.